Hey guys, welcome back to another Warzone 2.0 video. And today's video we're going to be talking more in depth about DMZ. So Infinity Ward just put out a new blog post talking about DMZ and diving into this because we talked about it a little bit within our main Warzone 2.0 video, but this video is going to be going over more so what DMZ is, as well as some of the community's reaction to it. So here we go. Infinity Ward put out a blog post titled Warzone 2.0 Launch Update. Welcome to DMZ. We're thrilled to have debuted our very first look at DMZ this week with streamers and creators at the IW studio. Heading into Warzone 2.0 launch week, we wanted to dive a bit deeper into this exciting new experience. Here's what players can expect from DMZ. DMZ is a dangerous, diverse, and deep open world experience where players can choose their level of intensity. Even in its earliest form, the DMZ experience is built for the most hardcore completionists, with faction missions, contracts, world events, stocking up the stash, helping out other squads or causing chaos, breaking open locked areas, and much more. This living world has plenty to conquer on day one. This sandbox mode is where players of all skill levels can choose their own way to play and win. The goal is to loot up and get out alive. It's about exploring an active world of AQ forces and enemy operators, completing missions and objectives, and exfiltrating with loot, cash, valuables, and rewards to build out your inventory for the next infiltration. Set your own stakes, and ultimately earn some high-tier items for use across the rest of Modern Warfare 2 and Warzone 2.0. While players can choose how and where they engage, all operators must exfil from the Al-Mazrah exclusion zone to reap their rewards. Players will ultimately fight for mastery of the mode by discovering all the experiences and rewards it has to offer. While DMZ begins in Al-Mazrah, no one quite knows where it may lead. Okay, next up they talk about stash and inventory. DMZ involves keeping a stash or inventory of weapons and other valuables from the exclusion zone. Players will start with a small inventory of free contraband items. Contraband guns are only usable in DMZ, and if you lose them on the battlefield, they're gone forever. Weapons acquired from other players or enemies on the field are considered contraband after extracting with them. Call of Duty is about customizing weapons, so we still want you to bring those creations into DMZ, whether it's a personal modification or a weapon blueprint. At first, you will have one insured weapon slot for any personal loadout weapon or weapon blueprint. Additional insured weapon slots can be earned by leveling up with factions. For those looking for an alternate path to unlocking weapons versus traditional weapon XP through matches, should be excited to plan their infills. Acquiring a contraband weapon will unlock the base weapon in Gunsmith, usable in multiplayer and Battle Royale. If you lose an insured weapon, remember insurance takes time, unless you are willing to pay the right price. Extracted cash and valuables speed up the cooldown on these slots. Your stash also contains certain items taken out of the exclusion zone, which can then be put into your loadout and backpack for the next infiltration, and give you access to special locations. If your backpack fills up during a match, uppers can visit one of 6 dead drop locations to stash items for extraction in a later match. Okay, and then they include this image. They say Call of Duty Warzone 2.0 DMZ Beta. Ooh, okay. We'll talk about this here in a second, but now they're kind of referring to DMZ as a beta. So let's continue. They say infill, loadout, and missions. DMZ is a trios-based mode with the option to play as a solo or duo by disabling squad fill. We recommend you start with trios as the Al-Mazrah exclusion zone is a dangerous place. To teach you how to play and give you those first rewards of DMZ, you accept faction missions. These are from our world's most powerful PMC groups, the Legion, White Lotus, and Black Mouse, with the Legion being your starting faction and the 2 unlocked by completing other factions missions. By completing a certain number of faction missions, you can advance up a faction missions tiers. These missions offer significant challenges coupled with significant unique rewards. Players will infiltrate the exclusion zone with their chosen loadout, insured or contraband, or they can bring nothing at all. Sometimes all it takes is a pair of fists and a dream. The exact point of infiltration is random every time, ensuring that no 2 DMZ matches will be the same. To get more items, players will have to extract them out of the exclusion zone with their backpack. This will provide an experience for players to complete a supply run, as an example, in which players can complete a run to gear up for a future deployment. In addition to the backpack, Players can exfil from the world with on-soldier items, including backpacks, self-revives, armor plate carriers, etc. This is critical for players looking to engage with high-tier enemies early in a match in their next infill, within the exclusion zone. Other than completing the objectives laid out in faction missions, players are also free to explore the exclusion zone to collect more items for their inventory and take on optional assignments. These can be completing contracts such as rescuing a hostage, taking down a high-value target, or taking part in a world event, such as activating a SAM turret or a UAV tower. Like Warzone 2.0, players can expect logical looting. Items exist in Al Mazrah in places they may exist in the real world, such as medical supplies in a bathroom cabinet or hospital. A police station or military outpost may contain more tactical gear. There are only a few limits to where you can explore in Al Mazrah. First, locked spaces, which are special areas within the exclusion zone, and strongholds, guarded by AQ forces. Players must obtain keys to gain access to these high-value places. Also, Al Mazrah won't have a circle collapse, so players need to monitor radiation as well as the occasional sandstorm. We don't know yet what is causing this deadly energy and what operators may get from finding its source. Again, there is no definitive objective or path to victory here in DMZ. You are responsible for mapping your own success in this mode, with plenty of rewards for your efforts: double XP tokens, calling cards, weapon charms, and other cosmetics. And finally, the ultimate reward, the M13B assault rifle. This functional weapon is a part of the Bruin Ops platform, along with the new BASP SMG can be yours to use across Modern Warfare 2 or Warzone 2.0 modes. EXFIL. Winning is determined by the player's choices and the consequences that follow, but ultimately exfilling from the exclusion zone is your main objective in each match. Part of DMZ's design is to make every match matter. Anything you get in DMZ that is in your loadout or backpack is lost upon death. Players can still be revived by their squad mates even after dying, although it will take longer than the usual downed revive. But if everyone drops, all that precious loot gets dropped too. The only exceptions are insured weapons, which are part of your stash. This is just the beginning. We've built a massive living world in Al Mazrah with challenging enemies, a deep mission system, side quests, secrets, and more. As we look to the future, we hope to reward players for exfiltration in new ways as we work towards new uses for cash and items. DMZ does not set out to replicate, and we cannot wait to see how it plays in the wild. We hope players will share their adventures with us as well as feedback about their experiences. See you in Al Mazrah beginning November 16th. Okay, so overall, I mean, like, they kind of gas it up quite a bit in here with this, saying, you know, it kind of seems like there's a lot of content in here and a lot for you to do. I mean, it is kind of interesting, though. It sounds like, you know, from a lot of what they said here, it's like, there's no real giant objective here. Like, it's your job to actually, like, make the objectives and to actually, like, make this mode into something, but your main objective is to exfil each time. So I'm like, it kind of, to me, sounds like this mode is going to be something you hop into, you might play a couple times, and you're like, okay, I've seen it all, and then you don't really play it until they release a new update with new items and stuff in it, okay? They showed off gameplay of this on last week with a bunch of creators. They streamed it when they were at Infinity Ward Studio, and the community reaction to it was not great. People were obviously way more excited for Warzone 2.0 and just for regular Battle Royale than they were about DMZ, and there was a lot of criticism about it. People are saying that it honestly looks boring, that it does not look entertaining to watch, and a lot of people who played it were just kind of like, I mean, it is what it is. It's not all that fun to play, so kind of interesting there. I saw a couple of things within the community about this. So I saw somebody posted a meme. I think this was on the Modern Warfare 2 subreddit. It's of an office meme. They say, congratulating Infinity Ward on minimal DMZ leaks. And then we got DMZ literally having no content that could be leaked. So it's like, yeah, I mean, we had a bunch of leaks about, like, DMZ and stuff, but we still didn't really know what the mode was going to be. All we heard was, we heard this time and time again, it's Call of Duty's version of Escape from Tarkov. But it really does not sound like it all that much in, you know, in its current state. And then I also saw a tweet from Dr. Disrespect. He says, that new gimmicky DMZ mode is already dead. Nobody wants to play that 6th grade design. So, I mean, I know that's like his character, you know, he like obviously likes to clown and rip on things all the time. But that's honestly not all that far off from what we had heard from a lot of other people in the community. The general community feedback is just like, what is this mode? Like, honestly, people are just like, it honestly seems like a beta, which is why I think later on, or earlier on in this blog post, why they included that graphic saying Call of Duty Warzone 2.0 DMZ beta. And they do not say anything here in the article about it being a beta, but they only included that graphic here. So I can only assume that this article is written, you know, potentially like days ago, if not weeks ago, and they are finally putting it out now, but then they hurried and whipped up that image real quick talking about it being a beta. So with them saying that it's a beta, to me that really kind of makes me feel like what they did here is they were going to launch this as a full mode, but then they saw the community reaction to it and they're like, oh crap, what do we do? Oh, I know. Let's just call it a beta. Let's call it DMZ beta, and then that will have, you know, all of our ducks in a row. Like, that'll cover us for any glitches in this mode, any like content that we don't have in it, and then we can officially launch it sometime later when we're officially ready to add more content into the mode. And I feel like that's what a lot of games do. They're just like, oh, our game's not finished, or the community doesn't like our game. Oh, well, that's because it's a beta. And it's like, no, it's not. You said nothing about it being a beta before, and it's like, oh, well, we're saying it's a beta now. And it's like, can you really say it's a beta after you've already talked about it like this? Like, the mode is only like 3 days from coming out, and all of a sudden today they're being like, oh, it's a beta. So, I don't know, it is what it is. My guess, like I said here, is, at least in my opinion, is that they're literally only calling it a beta just based off of the community feedback here. Like Doctor's Disrespect is saying here, like, oh, it's like a 6th grade design. So they're like, oh, hey, don't worry, you know, it's a 6th grade design because it's a beta. So this is their cover for it, is just to call it a beta. But, I mean, I'm interested in it. You know, I'm going to obviously hop in and play this on Wednesday. I'm going to try and stream this, and I'll give it a chance, you know. I'm curious to see how this actually plays, if there is any replayability to this mode, and if it's fun. Because if it's fun, it doesn't really matter. But if it's not fun and it's just kind of a grind and it's the same thing over and over, like they say in here, like obviously you're going to be like infiltrating into the map at a different spot every single time you jump in. But, I mean, is that really enough to keep the map fresh? Like, I don't know. To me, it feels like it's probably going to be similar to the Outbreak mode within Black Ops Cold War Zombies, where when that mode first came out, like, it was new and it was really fun to play for about 4 or 5 matches. And then after you played about 4 or 5 games of it, you were like, oh, okay, I get what this mode is all about. It's some open world mode. There's a bunch of objectives for you to do within this mode, and then you EXFIL, and boom, then you're done. Okay. But then, honestly, for me, Outbreak really got fun after like Season 4, Season 5 of Black Ops Cold War, when they really started to add a lot more stuff into it. Then it was like, okay, I can actually jump in here and I can really start playing and having a good time. Because when it first came out, there was only a couple of objectives, and it would literally keep rotating those same objectives, and it got old really, really fast. So I feel like that's going to be the same thing here with DMZ. I think maybe give it a couple seasons, give it a couple updates, and it'll finally be fleshed out with a lot more content, and then maybe we can revisit it again later. But that's going to do it for our video today, guys. What do you guys think about this? What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. We have later today, we have the preloads going live for Modern Warfare 2 Season 1, as well as Warzone 2.0. So make sure you guys get that preloaded, because it is a massive file size, and you guys want to be ready for when this game actually drops here on Wednesday. So make sure you guys download that, get that preloaded on your system, and that way you're ready to jump in and play right away. So there we go, guys. That is going to do it for our video. Thank you all so much for watching. Give the video a thumbs up if you have enjoyed, and let me know your guys' thoughts on this in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.